After years of waiting, Mass Effect 2 is finally upon us, and IGN.com says it's a 9.6. But does everyone agree? We've gathered a panel of all-stars here to decide. I'm Greg Miller alongside Jessica Chobot, Nate Ahern, and Thomas Price.
Hi.
Nate, tell me, is it that good? 9.6?
Yes, it is absolutely every bit as good as a 9.6 would suggest. Everything, I mean, from the first game, the universe has been expanded, the story's been expanded, the gameplay's smoother, the cover mechanics work better, the Mako is gone completely. It is everything everybody wanted and a lot more.
I miss the Mako, and
Oh my God!
I miss the Mako. I would
What
much
is
rather.
wrong with you?
I actually enjoy, even as repetitive as it was, exploring the planets versus scanning them. The scanning is, I don't mind the scanning really either, but it's so slow that I just feel like I'm just wasting time.
Tom, please talk some sense into her Mako loving talk.
No, because I hated that thing too.
All right,
I
so
still
Tom,
didn't like it.
outside of scanning planets, talk a little bit about the gameplay. I mean, what did you think of it?
You know, I mean, I think they did keep the best things about the original game and tightened up, you know, some other things. It seems like the squad stuff is a lot better this time. You know, in the past it was not. It was just about like, well, I got to take this guy that does that and so on. But now it feels like you have more control and
you can
can
direct
really
individual guys from the
directing individual guys, not just what they're doing, but where they are.
Right,
and it's like
biotics,
it feels like a really fast-paced, you know, tactical kind of a shooter, even though it's nothing
No,
like
totally,
a
it
tactical
does.
shooter.
We should actually mention a little bit because you said, you know, it's more of an action game than an RPG game, which is kind of like, it could be a downside for some people. It wasn't for me, and I don't think, you know, obviously it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
But those looking for a traditional RPG experience are not going to find it in Mass Effect 2.
I just really feel that they've taken it and balanced it out better.
No,
and
totally.
like really slimlined both sides. The only thing that kind of took me out of the RPG element, which is kind of what I played it for, was that the little thing, it was the details. It was not being in the elevators, which were exceptionally long, but maybe there was a way to keep those in rather than have a static load screen.
She likes the
Just those
Mako
little
and
things.
the elevator rides.
I did.
You're the only person ever.
I'm not the only person ever.
I think you might be.
I miss the normal, like, just doing a normal thing, killing something and getting a +5, or finish a conversation and getting +. You don't see the XP pop up. It just pops up with that weird, you know, elusive man screen. And
That's a very weird thing too.
Yeah.
That's almost like a stage in an action game ending. It's
That
like,
was
wow,
really
what?
awkward.
Yeah, the
I didn't
level
like
summary,
that much,
and the
but-
looting is totally gone too. There's no like, you know, there's no upgrading your weapons. You upgraded your ammo last time, your armor.
Yeah.
There's none of that in this one, and I don't necessarily miss it because you're not trudging through menus and, you know, inventory sorting.
Breaking
and all
things
that.
down into
I missed finding weird exotic armors and things
I would
at
have to
first,
agree.
but like a little ways into the game, I realized I'm like, I don't care about that anymore. It's like the things that the things that they added, you know, way outweigh the things that they took away from the game.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you know.
So we all know there's a lot of action elements in Mass Effect 2, but the one piece of the action gameplay that I didn't care for, I'll say I liked it. It was definitely better than the first game, but it's the cover mechanic. You know, there were still moments it was buggy. It didn't work right. I'd hop over objects. You know, I'd be tapping A too frantically to try and run through fire. It just didn't work perfectly. I feel like if it had like a more Gears of War style cover mechanic, that I mean, just fluid through every single move, it would just make the game that much better. And
Well, the one thing that I need desperately in the next one is blind fire. Just to be able to
I
sit
know.
there while I'm healing and just get the geth off me for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, especially on Insanity right now. I mean, I'm just getting my head kicked in left and right.
Yeah.
Jess, tell me about the story. What did you think? This, you know, the second installment here of this trilogy, Shepard's continuing tale.
For me, I really think that the story is pretty solid. I really like the interaction and the depth you can get with your characters and your teammates.
Every one of those loyalty missions is amazing. I thought amazing. I mean, Jacob's one, like that blew my doors off. That was a great ride. Those are my favorite part of it.
I loved. I mean, you know, like the Jack character, I didn't really like, but like when you did her loyalty thing and went back to her like the world where she grew up on the thing, it was fascinating because they did this thing where it was like she's like, yeah, this is where they tortured us and this or this, but then it starts to turn out it's like that she's remembering it wrong. And it was like this really kind of like
kid then,
and it was like this really. I was like, wow, that's like an interesting angle and like a different thing that you just don't see. It was very sophisticated storytelling.
Totally,
that you just don't see a lot.
Exactly, that's what makes Mass Effect 2. I think for the majority of people who really love the game, it's those little details and the fact that it feels like you're in a living, breathing world with like evolving characters and decisions matter, and that's what Mass Effect's all about.
Nate, 9.6, do you agree?
I absolutely do. This is every other game that comes out this year stacked against Mass Effect 2.
Jess.
I love it. I love the first one. I love the second one. You know, even with the changes, I'm not disappointed at all.
Mr. Price.
I disagree.
Ooh.
TeamXbox.com gave it a 10 out of 10.
Wow.
And I got Arthur's back on that one. I think, you know, we spent a lot of time talking about it. I think we made the right decision. It's the kind of game that needs to be called out for being the absolute upper echelon of gaming, and it did not disappoint us one iota. You know.
Mass Effect 3, how do they improve?
They don't. They just
Yeah.
stop it. They put it
Good
out. now
luck,
to
guys.
3 and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, if I do have to complain about one thing, it would be the cover art.
Yeah,
it's really
Miranda's
bad.
way hotter than this.
Way hotter. Shepard isn't as douchey as he looks there.
Well, what do you think? Is Shepard a douche? Did this game deserve a 9.6 or higher? Check in at IGN.com. For everybody here, I'm Greg Miller. Thank you for tuning in.